Welcome back to Geoguessr. Let's give this a shot. Hopefully we won't be down any frickin' country roads today that go that don't go anywhere. Well, this is really inspiring, isn't it? We're on a road. That was pretty funny because I thought we were on like a river. Okay, let's head this way because this looks like civilization. We have Grayson the Gigantic here, who says he wants to help, but he's actually involved in deep cleaning his leg right now. So I don't really believe him. Grayson, are you going to help or not? Okay, so the school next to what appears to be the local used tractor lot. Oh boy. You know, this might actually give us some helpful information here. Well, I gotta say, I'm amazed that wasn't blurred out. Let's look in Europe. So obviously we're in Montpelier, North Dakota, wherever that is. So let's go to North Dakota. One of the states with extremely hard to understand borders. So now it's just a matter of finding this this town, and I don't know anything about where it is, or somehow I got into Montana here. Okay, I'm going to kind of zoom in on each corner. I mean, this is going to be tiny. I didn't know Fargo was right over on the border like that. That's kind of interesting. Grand Forks. That's not the Grand Forks that I know. Uh-oh. Somehow we crossed over the border and ended up in Canada. Devil's Lake. We can't have that. You know... This was obviously taken in the summertime, these photos, so it's hard to tell whether it's on the northern side or the southern side of the state. Kalispell, that's in Montana. Again, somehow we've come way over the border here. I mean, we are looking for a dot on the map here. Let's not forget that. Bowman. Uh-oh. Where are we? Alright, we're still in North Dakota. I mean, we've been given a gift here of the exact place name, but New Rockford. Jim Rockford. It's not available. Waterford City. No, I have a sneaking suspicion we're looking for something that's even zoomed down at a level deeper than this. I'm amused by Grand Forks because there's a Grand Forks in the kind of the central southern middle of British Columbia, sort of near the border with Washington State. It actually might be over underneath Montana. It's kind of in this area. Hey, if you want Grand Forks, I can find you Grand Forks. But anyway, it's over in this area. There's Nelson, where my great-grandfather spent... No, that's not really what I want. I'm just going to stick it there and, you know, split the difference. That's cool. I never would have found it except by total dumb luck. So I'm happy with that. That was kind of a gimme. And I'll take it. My great-grandfather came from here. It was one of these peaceful religious types and wouldn't fight for the Tsar, and so the Queen of England paid for their passage, and they came out through Turkey and Cyprus and that, and then came out and came to Montreal. The ship dropped them off, went out to deliver a load of cattle to New York, and sank. So they were very lucky. They worked their way across the plains on the railway, and then a bunch of them settled in the Nelson area here. And I actually met him. This exodus, paid for by Tolstoy and the Queen and that kind of thing, happened around 1900, and I met him in several times in the 80s before he died at the age of we really don't know how old he got to be. He got to be 90 something. We were hoping for 100, but he didn't quite make it. Boy, this is alright. Let's go this way for a little bit. I understand that clicking this flag, yeah, returns you to the start, so let's go this way a little bit. But he died in 1986 when I was 12, and I remember it being a big thing. I mean, the whole town, the whole Slocan Valley turned out for it with food and stuff like that, and my father spoke at the funeral. And my dad speaks Russian. I don't. It's one of those things I'd like to learn. It's a hard language to learn. I have checked out some YouTube courses and things like that, and I can say a few things, but it's certainly not as fluent. And that group actually wanted my dad to become their spokesperson and leader when he spoke. After he spoke at the funeral, they approached him for it, but he's not a political type, so he didn't want much to do with it. He's more than happy to be assimilated into typical Canadian culture. So we would drive up from Vancouver and take the highway, and this is before the Coquihalla was invented, so it was a long trip up the Crow Highway, which is the number 3 single lane highway basically in each direction. Kind of gets shut down every winter, so it was always an interesting trip. We'd go through Kelowna and Osoyoos and that, and stop for fried chicken, and then we get up to Nelson, Castlegar, that kind of an area. Very industrial area. Castlegar is like the throat cancer capital of British Columbia, at least because of the lumber mill they have there. Not really a place I'd like to live and work in. So we seem to just be going down a country road. I have actually achieved something here, in that I've gotten to a sign. Well, there must be a Lincoln County in almost every state, you would figure. At least every northern state. Southerners leading towards Jefferson County, no doubt. Or Jefferson Davis County. I want to tell you a little story about Jefferson Davis that you might not know about. I have this 4-volume enormous set of Civil War oral histories which have been written down, and they've got beautiful cover art. You may know that I've been doing these anti-social media rants lately, just some quick sort of video log things about stuff that's of interest to me. I'll include them on a future one. The cover art is just beautiful on these, and inside they're like 700-800 pages each one of these, and there's 4 of them. What these guys did was, about 20 years after the Civil War, they went around, so this would be in the 1880s, and interviewed men, women, anybody that they could find who played a significant part in the history of the Civil War in the United States. And so it's a very different perspective from a history book or some essay that somebody's written, because it's from the mouths of people who are actually there. And there were a couple things. I've only gotten part of the way through the first book. I mean, it's heavy stuff. But the 2 big takeaways that I've gotten so far from reading that are, First of all, neither side was very well prepared for war. The North did not have an army, and they were terrified that if, and there were all these Southern agents in the government, in the capital, in Washington, you know, who were ready to kind of be turncoats and you know, create civil unrest and take over stuff. And so the Northern leadership was terrified that they couldn't build an army fast enough, and so they were in a real rush to do it. And they didn't have any trained people. They really had nothing defending the capital. So if the South had been able to capitalize on that, the result might have been different. On the Southern side, the Southerners never early enough bothered to get money together and go buy weapons from, say, the French or the English or something like that. Somebody who would, especially the English, who would have a vested interest in the United States splitting itself into two pieces, you know, from a geopolitical point of view. And so they never really got their act together soon enough. And by the time they did it, the North was ready to fight. And if you know anything about history, things didn't really go the North's way for a little while, and then eventually the industrial powerhouse took over, and that pretty much won the day. But Jefferson Davis was elected, and this is curious. The proceedings of the North were obviously through Congress and that, and they're held in the open. The proceedings of the South, the Confederacy, were held in secret, and this is a huge fact that makes a critical difference in how they conducted themselves and what happened in the war, because the South, the leadership in closed session in secret elected Jefferson Davis in what they thought was a good idea, and then they found out that the guy was not really suitable and unpopular, but they had already come out and announced it. So they really couldn't say, oops, we screwed up, he's not our guy after all, we got to change our minds here, without really losing face and some power in the symbolism of the President of the Confederacy. So they were stuck with this guy who nobody really liked or wanted once they got his name out there. And I find that very curious, because you really have to wonder what that did to morale. Right? The smart move probably should have been to say, we screwed up. But because the proceedings were done in secret and nobody wanted to take blame for it, you know, in public, they held on with this guy who really wasn't that great of a choice. So that's what I've gotten so far out of reading these books. I haven't touched them for quite a while. One of them sitting right here in front of me. But again, I'll read a little more and then cover this again in Anti-Social Media Vlog. So we don't really seem to be getting anywhere. I mean, you look at this and it's scrub, and it could be anywhere. This could be in Texas. This could be in Nebraska. This could be in Oklahoma. I have driven through, again, many places which look like this. It's very scrubby. It could be in Idaho. Although I doubt it. It looks a little dry even for Idaho. But I went through Idaho in November, so I don't really know what it looks like in the summer. I'm looking for anything that could give us a tip on where the heck we are. This little piece of country heaven could be yours. Oh no, just the horses. Just the horses. This is you know, I don't know if this is a rural thing, but it's definitely a southern thing. I haven't traveled enough through Pennsylvania, for example. I haven't been much in the Northeast to know whether they clutter their front yards and fields with old equipment and that's rusting away, in the hopes that maybe one day they might be able to use it again. That's very common here in North Carolina. If you get an hour or two out of town. For a while in 2012, or 2011, excuse me, I ran an auto parts recycling yard, and we would go out and find yards of old equipment and old cars and old bulldozers and stuff like that, truck trailers, anything you can think of, automotive, that we would buy and bring back and take all the parts off that we could for, you know, sort of cannibalizing them for the yard, and then the rest we would send to the shredder. And I'll tell you, many's the time I have walked into somebody's property where I was looking around and thinking, gosh, there really isn't anything here, because there'd be a row of trees or bushes or something like that kind of cutting the property view off from the main road. And once you get in there, half overgrown and everything are all these automobiles and heavy equipment pieces and stuff. It's quite alarming, actually, to know that this stuff is all out there. So we're having cold weather here right now. I got a little heater coming on in this room, because the big heater is actually not, the central heating is not actually able to keep pace with the heat loss from the house, I guess. So it's hovering around 66 degrees and it's daytime now. It'll go down colder at night, and it's fighting to stay in there. So I'm heating a couple rooms that I'm actually using with these little ceramic electric heaters, and that's a good way to control expenses, I guess. Grayson has gone to sleep. He's folded himself up and gone to sleep. Okay, this is good. This is not a golf ball. This is a water tower. And as all water towers do, they will have the town name on it. The problem is it might take us another hour to get there at this rate. But we do seem to be getting closer, and it should be written on the side in large letters. Hopefully they won't have blurred it out, or the camera resolution won't be terrible. What is this? Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is just a minor example. This truck is like backed in here, right? If it was backed in a little further, and the cab maybe wasn't white or something, maybe more of a yellow, was behind this part of the tree, you wouldn't even see it. You wouldn't even know it was there. And this is going on all the time. Okay, we're at Brady. Okay, and we're at highway speed still, 45. Not a lot going on in Brady. The Brady get and go. Get it and get out of Brady. To the 80. To the 80. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to guess we're somewhere in the middle of the country, because the numbers start at low in the I-80, yeah, in the west, and they get higher as they go to the east. So like the 90 is my highway, running north-south down the coast here. Let's see. Well, there's the 81. I don't know if you saw it. It's right there. And again, this big problem is these highways run, I mean, they're the interstate, so they run the whole way of the country, the whole length of it. So we got 79, 77, 385, 85, 70. It's getting kind of jumbly around here in the Indianapolis area, isn't it? Yeah, I think. Does that say 80? It does. Okay. All right. So we know that 80. That 80 goes across the entire frickin' state, right through Nebraska and Iowa and stuff like that. So I think it said 80 and 30, didn't it? So that would probably... Uh-oh. We've lost the 80. 287. That 95 is not the one that I know. Sacramento. Here's the 20. 89. No, now these numbers are making no sense. Jason's getting angry. What are you doing, Geoguessr? How do we end up here on the 95? Okay, they've conjoined like a pair of awful Siamese twins. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. Wait, what's this? North Platte. Where would that be? Is it okay. Alright, so I'm gonna guess here because the 30 and the Nebraska. Okay. Well, I was right in the right area. I thought this would be over here more because of the 30, but that's okay. I'll take it. I mean, we were out in the middle of nowhere again. Oh my. Okay. So first of all, I'm thinking Australia. Second of all, I'm thinking I need a canteen of water because it's going to be a heck of a long way to get to anywhere. Let me decrease the size of this map. Thanks again to Simon Craft for telling me about the fanciness of these expandability buttons here, which I had not figured out for my own, and I have watched professional YouTube game casters who do this for a living who have not figured that out. Look at this hedgerow here. This is very interesting. This is making me wonder, this thing on the left here, whether or not we're in France or something like that. Oh, signage. Because give way. Nope, we're in England. Speaking of Simon, Simon's like, oh, I know where this is right now. I don't know where Winsford is, or Taunton, or the B3224. Is there a system? I know the M's are in the south here, yeah. And here's... Okay, so we're clearly not at a level of being able to see the B's without zooming into this level. I kind of hate this actually because it's just, the window's never big enough and you never get to see enough really. I mean, is the B the next level down of road? All these names look the same. Oh boy. Watford. Nope. Like I was saying. They all looked at the slough. That's fantastic. I mean, this could really be anywhere in this, especially this southern area here. Tauntaun. I don't think we'll be seeing any shaggy Tauntauns ridden around by Han Solo anytime soon. No, that was not a guess. That was a slip of the old finger. And I don't think we're in this area, which probably means we are, because every guess I've ever made is wrong. Except that one where I guessed I was in Holland. The language told me so. No, I'm guessing we're in this sort of southern London type area, but I really have nothing to support that with. I have to admit. Well, Tauntaun seems to be in this direction. I'm happy I was correct about the hedgerow being important, though. Like to me it says this is an older country, right? One that's had time to develop. Dulverton to wait. No more information. Oh, there are sheep. That's fantastic. Sheep. And wherever we are is unsuitable for wide vehicles. Good to know. Good to know. So many complicated names. Wow. Brompton Regis. It could be over here. I know somebody from Clacton-on-Sea. It's interesting. She has lived and worked in a number of places, including Poland and Wikia out in the west coast here. Tewkesbury, where Richard III lost his head. Hereford. See, it could be anywhere up here. I really don't have time to do massive guessing. I'm going to guess right here. Okay. Well, I was right about the south. I allowed myself to be enraptured by some of the names up here around Nottingham, but I would have otherwise guessed around this area, or this area, somewhere in here. But obviously it was over here. No, I'm okay with it. Whoa. This looks like freaking Alaska or something like that. Grayson, what do you think? Grayson has put a paw in front of his face. Alright, let's get this giant map out of the way. Is this a British Petroleum? Nope. It's something I've never heard of. Petro Express. Wow. There is a sign up and to the right that says dock. Okay, so I watched a movie called Insomnia last night, which was set in a small Alaskan town, and this reminds me of it on a sunny day. Told you it was Alaska. There it is. And so what I need to do now is come up with a better thing than Alaska Commercial Electronics or whatever, electrical contractors. I need to find something more hello. Is that a name? Is that a name? It's like Petersburg or something like that, shipwrights, but that could be their last name, as is often the case. Get out of here. Got a little northern exposure feel coming on here. Alright, sign. Ferry, yep. The Homer Creek Campground. Uh-oh. So what I don't like about what I'm doing right now is shoot. I'm leaving town. Once again, this was clearly done in the summertime. I'm sure this place, while beautiful at this time of year, looks very different 6 months of the rest of the year. That I would not be exactly thrilled to live there. That's good. You know, this is a poor man's fire escape from the John. That's one thing I noticed. My brother lives in Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories. I'm actually not sure if it's still called the Northwest Territories, or maybe it's part of Nunavut or something like that. But these small windows are very common there because they don't want a lot of heat loss to the outside. And I went there in 2008 for his wedding. And it was the 24 hours of sun. It was basically 23 hours of sun. It did go down for an hour and became kind of twilighty. But it does weird things to you having the light on all that time. It is Petersburg. Okay, let's find it. You know, it's 10 o'clock at night and you want to go row a boat or something like that. It's kind of funny. Because the sun is up, and so you have a lot of energy. I'm getting scared here, I gotta admit. Okay, so like I know of Anchorage and Nome and Kodiak Island, and that's about it. So we're definitely along the coast, so I'm not going to go inland. I'm zoomed in really far. I mean, we're on the coast. We're not on a river. If we are, I'll be astonished. The number 1. And that's as far as she goes, huh? In that area. There is a campground, but they did say, I mean, you get there by ferry. Yeah. I'll agree it's probably not the only way to get there, but oh, there it is. It's on an island. Okay. Yes, Grayson. Hello. Grayson. Grayson. He's come right over to try and... Alright, so I'm going to go right there and make my guess, and if I don't get 5,000 points, I'm going to stab someone with a fork. Yeah. Yeah. We're doing a little bit better this time than last time. I think this is our 5th round. It is. And I would guess stop licking me. Go over there. That would be the sound of Grayson's claws. Stop. Do not sit on the keyboard. I would guess this is Norway. Why do you need to sit on me? I don't really understand this attraction. I understand being in the room, hanging out with me, being on the other end. But not on me. Okay. I've seen so many places that look like this. That is the Norwegian flag, I believe. If I can see it again, where the heck did it go? Officer, I'd like to report a crime. A flag has utterly vanished. What is the attraction, Grayson? Okay. It's pretty crumpled. The wind is obviously not blowing. Looks like something from the Kriegsmarine right now from World War I, if they even call it that. But I'm going with Norway on this one. You know, you look around, there's always military bases in these things with Norway, and you wonder, are they really that militant? But the fact of the matter is there's probably like not a whole lot going on wherever this is. You can see there's a modular building that's been stuck on here. The military is probably the biggest employer. Well, that means Hall. Do not stick your claws in me. I do not want your claws. Mr. Destroyer of Worlds, sharpest claws in the universe. You know, for a snowy climate and that, they do really take care of themselves and pretty it up. And this is certainly the kind of place that I would like to visit during the growing season. Shall we charitably call that? What's this now? Shell. Okay. So no real information other than these two names. Gea and Bardufoss, which don't really sound like Norwegian names, but... And this is definitely an inland location. I'm gonna guess that says B7 or whatever, and not 87. Uh-oh. I say uh-oh because... See, but the Swedish flag is totally different colors, right? Isn't it like more like the West German colors with brown and... I don't know, maybe not. I gotta look up my flags again. I used to know all that stuff. This is the problem with Norway, is it's so darn big. I think I know it's Trondheim from the Tirpitz, a giant German battleship from World War II. There it is. Fleet in being. These names do not... Whoops. Just drop my recorder there. The last time I recorded through the camera's microphone, and I didn't think it sounded very good. I really have to shout. Well, maybe they're Norwegian names. But they don't have those O's with the slash through them or anything like that. Lillehammer. Wasn't there an Olympics there many, many years ago? Let's go down to the Sunset Grill. Well, let's look at this sign here before we do anything else. Okay. Overguard. Now I'm a little more comfortable that that I've seen the O with the slash through it. Opguard. I really hate map hunting. It's not my favorite part of the game, but it needs to be done. Alright, we're getting lost here. I mean, there's not a lot of density here. There's a lot of little towns. And if you're not zoomed into the correct level of detail, you're just gonna miss it. I'm going to guess that we're somewhere north of Oslo. I'm like desperately hoping this Overguard thing jumps out at me, but it's not. There's just not a lot going on up here. And what really disturbs me is we have not seen this B road here, this B7 business. we don't need to go all the way to West Spitsbergen or something like that. Let me just take a quick look at Finland here, which doesn't have those slash names with the O's. No, they have the umlauts and stuff, so I really would like to stick with Norway on this one. Just gonna click up here north of Oslo and see how we do. Okay, so I was way off. He's up here. I want to check that out because I did poke around here. There's the, so it is the 87. Shoulder. Okay. So not bad, almost 20,000 points, which I would consider a very good score. I'm quite happy with this. I wasn't off by much. Everything was in the northern hemisphere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were able to do very well with Alaska. These two, I'm pretty happy with that one. If I'd had a little more information or spent more time, maybe I could have gotten better. And this one was just, I'm in the right country, you know? So I'm happy with that. If you're interested, I think you can use this seed here and play along with me. Thanks for watching.